Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is Nifuji here with another World of Warcraft video, and today we are going to be looking at the Totemic Resto Shaman hero talent tree. Now, just off my first impressions, I think this is a certified banger. Like, I think this is going to be really good going into the War Within, pending number tweaks and stuff like that. As for most of my videos on this channel, I'm going to be mostly focusing on how I think this is going to do in Raid. But yeah, I kind of wanted to just jump in. Unlike my last video, I'm going to mainly be focusing on the hero talents and not really talking about the talent trees and how they were shifted. I only really yapped about that because I know more about Resto Druid. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump straight into this, and I will show you guys what I opted to take for some of my beta testing so far and why I think this is going to be insane for Raid. So right off the bat, the first ability we're getting out of this is Surging Totem. So Surging Totem is going to replace Healing Rain, which is going to be a huge gameplay change for Resto Shaman. You're not going to be spam casting, Healing Rain every 10 seconds on a group and hoping that it's in the right spot. Instead, we're going to have Surging Totem. And so Surging Totem summons a totem at your feet that immediately and every 8 seconds is going to cast Healing Rain within 30 yards where allies are present. Healing Rain is, it's going to heal for 30% more than a normal Healing Rain, and it lasts 24 seconds on a 24-second cooldown. Now, one big thing to note here, and something I've seen other people talking about, is that this is going to replace Healing Rain, and that is just not the case for one huge reason, and that is that mana cost. If y'all look right there, you can see 216,000 mana every time you cast this bad boy. So just to give you an idea, you can take a look at my mana bar here or here. Boop! There goes 8% of your mana. And so, 8% of your mana for 24 seconds of Healing Rain is probably not worth it. However, as you can see, there's some modes flying around that are going to come up later in the hero talent tree, and so there is potential that that is, going to be a big factor in its utility. So let's go ahead and keep looking at this a little more. So as you can see, going on to the next thing here, we have Totemic Rebound. So Chain Heal is now going to jump to a nearby totem within 26 yards once it reaches its max targets, which is going to cause the totem to cast Chain Heal again on an injured ally within 39 yards, healing for a bit less and only jumping to 2 nearby targets. So basically what that means is you throw a Chain Heal out, it's going to do its typical bounces, hit one of the totems you have down, and then throw out a baby version to give you some extra throughput on 2 more targets. Now that is going to play into what I think could be really big for Raid later, so just keep that in mind. Going to our first choice node here, we have 2 options. First one being Amplification Core. So while Surging Totem is active, your damage and healing done is increased by 3%. And your other option is going to be Oversurge. While Ascendance is active, Surging Totem is 150% more effective. This is probably going to be the one we take for Raid. After testing this a bit, I don't have Surging Totem down enough that I think I'm getting a ton of throughput through this, but that could be different going into the future. Our next one we have here is Lively Totems. So your Healing Tide Totem, Healing Stream Totem, Cloudburst Totem, Mana Tide Totem, and Spirit Link Totem are all going to cast a free instant chain heal at 100% effectiveness. Lively Totems is, in my opinion, the best part of this talent tree, and if you remember Resto Shamans, you had this as a tier set bonus in the past. This owns. It is extremely mana efficient given how strong Chain Heal is currently. If Chain Heal is to get really weak in the future, I can see this maybe not being as amazing as it sounds. But in my experience in some of these dungeons, this has been killer. I can just kind of chill and do damage, and when damage starts coming out, you drop a totem, and everyone's basically getting topped up for free, or you're only using one proc of your Tidebringer along with the totem to get people topped up, so you're just kind of healthier throughout the fight, depending on when you throw those totems down. So this is huge. Our next choice node, we have Oversized Totems. Is what I opted for. And it's going to increase the size and radius of your totems by 15% and the health of your totems by 30%. And your other option is Swift Recall. Successfully removing a harmful effect with Tremor or Poison Cleansing Totem or controlling an enemy with Capacitor or Earth Grab Totem is going to reduce the cooldown of the totem used by 5 seconds, and you cannot occur more than every 20 seconds per totem. So, this might be good for M+, I'm assuming. I don't know how crazy it's going to be in Raid. I'm thinking this is probably the better choice for Raid. The next one we have here is Wind Barrier. If you have a totem active, your totem grants you a shield absorbing 315k damage for 30 seconds, every 30 seconds, which is, it's okay. If we look at this healing from this dungeon I did recently, you can see Wind Barrier is actually my 4th most used heal. So, it's decent. It's decent enough. And I think that was probably just on one boss, but it's pretty good. It's noticeable. Alright, our next one we have is reactivity. Your healing stream totems now also heal a second ally at 50% effectiveness, while Cloudburst totem stores additional 25% healing, so just better throughput through your totems, which is pretty sick. We have Imbuement Mastery, which increases the duration of your Earth Living effect by 6 seconds. I'm not using that right now in M+, but you might use that in Raid, and you probably want to, given the fact that this is one of your hero talents. The next choice node we have is Pulse Capacitor is what I took. Increases the healing done by Surging Totem by 25%. The other option you have is you're going to learn a new weapon imbue, Tidecaller's Guard. Imbue your shield with the element of water for 1 hour. Your healing done is increased by 2%, and the duration of your healing stream totem and Cloudburst totem is increased by 3 seconds. So I'm just using this right now for dungeon testing. This is probably just going to be BIS for Raid, if I had to guess. You're just going to be healing more, and your actual healing totems are going to last longer, which, is pretty invaluable in a large 20-man plus group. Our final choice node here, Totemic Coordination. Chain heals from your totems are 25% more effective. So remember, when you drop a totem and it throws out that free chain heal, it's 100%. So if you take this as well, you're going to be at 125% effectiveness on the free chain heals, which is pretty huge. Then we have Earth Surge. Allies affected by Earthen Wall Totem, Ancestral Protection Totem, and Earth Living effect receive 10% increased healing from you. I didn't think this is going to be better than this. I still don't think it's going to be better than Totemic Coordination. That's just my thoughts on that. And the final thing we have for Totemic is Whirling Elements, which is these 3 bad boys you saw when I threw this totem down earlier. So you can see we have an Earth, Wind, and Water moat. And I'm going to jump into what those do right now. So elemental moats orbit around your surging totem. Your abilities consume the moats for enhanced effects. So the water moat, your next healing wave or healing surge also heal an ally inside of the healing range at 100% effectiveness. So that's pretty good for, dungeons, and that might be okay for raid as well. The air moat, the cast time of your next healing spell is reduced by 40%, pretty rad. And earth, your next chain heal applies earth living at 150% effectiveness to each target hit. So typically when you throw this down, your next heal is going to instantly take up 2 of the 3, right? So if I test this out right now, I'm going to use chain heal. And as you can see, we lose the wind and earth. Reason being, the healing cast time was reduced by 40%, and chain heal was going to apply the earth living at 150% effectiveness. And the same thing happens if you use healing wave. It's going to take air and water. So you're always going to lose 2 pretty much when you use something. But this is pretty rad. This is pretty good. And another cool thing here, this is something people were testing but couldn't see when it wasn't implemented, is you can throw this guy down, and you can use Totemic Recall. And you can throw this down again, but you need to keep in mind it's going to override it. So if you were, for some reason, to want to do this, you're going to want to use the actual heals first that you have, right? And anyway, you'd be able to throw it down a second time. It's going to get rid of your first one, and you're going to get your motes back, right? So pretty rad. That could be big, right? Being able to use 2 of these in a row for some crazy, massive heals. I don't know if that's going to be the strat people want to use, especially considering, again, this is 216,000 mana that we're looking at here. However, there is another item I want to talk about. This doesn't really have to do with Resto Shaman, but when I was looking at it on my Resto Druid, the first thing that came to mind is, hey, this is probably pretty good on Resto Shaman. So that would be this potion here, Agonizing Potion. So this is a pretty interesting little guy. As you can see, when you use it, your next 6 mana-consuming spells or abilities are going to consume 12 to 8% of your health instead of using mana, and it lasts up to 25 seconds, 5-minute cooldown. Meaning you're not going to be able to pop a mana pot, so there could be some concern on if you're actually getting full value out of this. But once this comes up off a cooldown, I will show you guys why I think this could be pretty good for like some insane level of raid burst healing. And there is some cool synergy there with our tier set bonus for Resto Shaman, which is that your Tidal Waves increases the healing of affected spells by 10%, one of those being Chain Heal, and Tidal Wave is going to be 80% more effective and reduce mana cost affected spells by 8%. So that means we about to cast fast as fuck. So in order to get Tidal Waves, and let me cook here because I'm going to show you what I'm thinking. You pop Riptide on yourself, right? We have our Tidal Waves. Now we're going to pop our pot. We're going to pop our 218k, really fast chain heal. We Riptide again, right? We're going to throw down another Surging Totem. We're going to get another fast one, and then we still have 1 more cast left. So we just got, in a huge burst, we used over 500,000 mana, but we didn't actually lose any of that, right? So again, not sure if that's going to be the best use of this. Probably not. But I just think, could be good. Could be pretty good. The final thing I wanted to talk about with Resto Shaman and why I think that this might be nuts, and I actually got this from a Liquid Max video, is because of this talent here, which is Ancestral Vigor, right? So targets you heal with Healing Wave, Healing Surge, Chain Heal, or Riptide's initial heal are going to gain 5% increased health for 10 seconds, and if you have 2 levels in it, you're going to get 10% increased health. So we're going to go ahead and take a little trip down to the common lands down here where the plebeians reside, so that we can test this out. We're going to test it with these fellas here. So we're going to rip a chain heal right now, right? Of course, it's not going to go to these guys. Let's go this way. So you can see he has the buff. Let's see, I'll just throw this around a couple times. He has the buff. He has the buff. He has the buff. All these people are getting the buff. You throw a totem down. Where did that go? Over here? This guy has the... Where is he at? Yeah, he has the buff, you can see. So something that Liquid Max brought up is that while Shaman doesn't actually have a raid buff, if we were to take 2 points of this in raid, with how often we're throwing chain heals down, there is a pretty high chance that you're going to have a very high uptime on, at least half of your raid team, and they're going to have 10% increased health. And like, just to give you an idea, let's say a ton of damage is coming out right now, right? Here we go. We're going to pop this. Let's say we do a Nature Swiftness. We throw down a totem. We're going to do another chain heal. We're going to throw down Healing Tide totem. And we're going to throw out another chain heal. Boom. Right? All these free chain heals are going out. So many of these people now during a massive damage window are going to have increased HP. You can see this guy has it. This guy has it. Everyone that just hit has it. Again, your Healing Tide is bouncing to additional totems when they're out. So like, there is an insane amount of throughput potential there to just have your entire raid healthy as shit and have extra HP. So I think, if that ends up being a viable talent build, that's going to be pretty insane, especially if you are stacking on an encounter and you're stacked up with 10 people in a little area. Every time you chain heal, that whole group is going to have 10% more HP, and that just as well might as well be a raid buff. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or concerns about, my yapping, if you think I'm wrong, let me know. But I think Totemic is looking insane for Resto, so I can't wait to try it out in raid testing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.